We are live on Monday night.
We're doing it.
Live in Mount Shasta.
Live from Mount Shasta, it's Monday night. And welcome. Welcome to the Toltec discussions with somebody named Golden Eagle. It's finally almost cool enough I can drink it. Any questions?
I haven't even been able to pull up YouTube yet. It's not showing me the live window yet.
Oh, okay.
So.
It's being in that mood again, huh?
Yes, I don't know what to do about that.
I would say close the browser window, just completely kill the browser and then restart the browser. But leave the
Okay, I
broadcast.
got it.
Okay, you got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, any questions locally?
Hang on, okay.
All right, Nina, stop interfering with my students. Students, stop playing with the cat. Pay attention. Any questions? What are we talking about?
The humanity experience.
What do you know about the humanity experience?
That we're going to upgrade and change our experience in the tonal.
Okay, that's one way of putting it.
And to push through the door and to challenge ourselves and to do our destiny's path and do our true will.
Okay.
And pull our fingers out.
Yeah, before big logs smash them. Sometimes it goes quick. Okay, so the humanity experience on Earth is what this series of discussions is about. We are in episode 4. I have no idea how many it will take to get the points done that I want to make. Let's go over to this camera, if we may.
That's where you had it.
Oh, okay, so that's where we're at. What do you think about the picture?
I love it. That says it all. That we're bigger than our bodies, that we're as big as that galaxy and part of it.
Yeah,
And of the stars.
yeah, I kind of like the way that turned out. I was originally going to go, we can come back over here now. I was originally going to go for something, you know the plate we sat on, what was it, Pioneer 10, the space probe that left the solar system. There was the plate Carl Sagan helped design. It had the naked man and woman and then the picture of the spaceship and these directional markers to a series of quasars so people would know where we were, and it showed which planet of our solar system. It's a famous thing. I wanted to do something with that, but all the artwork available on that was too complex for a quick flash. And so I came up with this.
And there's a lot of movement in that.
Yeah, the
It-
guy's
it-
jogging by, sees the girl going, ooh.
Well, it's not stagnant. It's
Yeah.
moving towards something better.
So the other thing that I'm trying to convey with that image is the notion that we're not smart mud,
That's a good way to put it from the book.
which is what some people would have us believe. We are stellar beings from the stars. What's that?
Possessing mud.
And we are possessing the smart mud. Right. We have infiltrated down here. But the thing is, who made the mud? Right?
Gods.
Yeah, who are we? Part of
We're
God.
gods.
We made the mud.
We're holy mud.
We're holy mud. Holy mud!
It's better than holy shit.
Yep.
Well, what do you think the mud's made out of?
Earth shit?
Oh, star.
Star poop?
Stardust.
It's
This is
star
all
poop.
star debris.
It's star poop.
It's star poop. It's star debris. The star goes and spreads this out, and it coalesces, and here we are.
Okay, so it's all like the dust from the volcano, the dirt.
Yeah, yeah. Only think of now many times bigger than just one mere small volcano on Earth.
Okay.
Right? Small volcanoes on Earth, what are they going to do? Blow up the whole continent? Now, a sun blowing up, now then you got something. The sun blows up and it takes out the whole solar system, right? So it seeds the higher level elements into the cloud coalesces, and this cycle repeats. So we are stellar beings. We are celestial beings. And we are here on a mission, okay? So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, was to see who picked up anything on the picture. And you got a lot. Any comments or questions online yet? Any bodies online?
Yeah, we have Mohadib.
Mahdi,
Mahdi.
welcome.
We have Melody and Boys.
Melody
boys
the
and
boys.
Melody.
Hi, boys. Hi, Melody. And Ms. Maria.
Maria.
Ave Maria. Don't ask me to sing.
Please.
Oh,
I have a lot of talents in life. Singing is unfortunately not on the list. So,
I thought it sounded pretty good.
no. Thank you, but I know better. Okay. I have a friend named John Michael, who among his many talents, he's an outstanding psychic. I mean, the real deal. This
Psychic
is what
to the
all,
stars.
this is, he's worked for, high-end stars in Hollywood, but I've worked with him. We've done medical intuitive work together. And,
Oh, how fun.
and he's amazing at it. But he has been an opera singer.
Oh, wow.
And if you hear John Michael sing, and then I'm sitting right there, you hear me sing, you're gonna
So
because I know better.
let's
okay?
get him up to Mount Shasta.
Yeah, he's overdue. John Michael, if you're watching this, and I may just send you this link, you're overdue by 2 years
We want you to
from
come
the
up.
last time you said you were coming this month. So I don't forget these things. It's not nice to fool the shaman. Anyway, he's phenomenally gifted, phenomenally talented, and he has an amazing voice. I think he's a baritone.
Wow.
A little lower than that, but what's that famous opera singer, Pavarotti, who's a
Yeah.
tenor, but Pavarotti's got nothing on him.
Really?
Except Pavarotti has a better agent. And John Michael chose not to go down that road. For a variety of reasons, which they're his business. I'm not telling no secrets. We humans get too hung up in the humanity experience by misunderstanding the humanity experience. That's what this series is about. I sometimes feel, as a shaman doing my best to pass on teachings, that I'm really hurting cats. Now I've got 2 indoor cats that are out of control, and just this fall we've been adopted by 3 outdoor cats, a mommy and 2 kitties, and now they're racing around madly and catching birds in the yard and learning to hunt and playing with squirrels.
And terrorizing the indoor cats.
Yeah, and terrorizing indoor cats through the windows and the doors. And so we're doing our best to keep them safe, because outdoor cats don't necessarily have a long lifespan. When there's 8 or 10 major predator species in the area, we'd be more than happy to eat those cats. So every now and then we'll see a sign posted in the neighborhood, "Oh, I'm missing my cat," or "Oh, I'm missing my little Chihuahua puppy dog, Fluffy, he's gone, anybody seen him?"
That's a weekly thing.
Yeah, and so we go, no, they're food for somebody.
We're all food for something.
Yeah, and quite frankly, in town, it's worse.
Huh?
I have friends who the church we go to had bears in the parking lot in broad daylight in the last week. This week, bears in the church parking lot. And they didn't even ask permission.
You two are on a roll tonight.
You say that every week. Almost.
She's really on a roll.
She's good, because she's doing better. And I must have spin that stuff I slipped in her. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that.
I
The humanity experience. Oh yeah. We get bogged down in the social aspects of being on the planet, trying to please others, trying to please artificially created social norms. What were those toys they used to pass out at McDonald's? There was like a whole
Happy
collection.
Meals.
No, that's the food. There was a toy series. Several times they've had different, and there's like 20 things, right?
It came, a Happy Meal came with a toy and the.
Right, but there was a name for the toy series.
There was hundreds and
Okay,
hundreds of
so
toy
the
series.
concept is they put out, like, and then they gave a number rating to them. So they, let's say they made 1 million of the number ones, and they only made 1,000 of the whatevers, right? Nationwide.
So
right?
they're
And
collectors.
so
are-
everybody's wanting to get it. It's sort of like a takeoff on
Beanie Babies.
like the Beanie Babies or the Willy Wonka and the chocolate thing. Oh, I'm gonna buy 1 million candy bars because
Or a cat.
I've got to get that golden ticket to get a free lifetime supply of chocolate, right? So we get caught up in that. We somehow get conditioned to think that that's important. But is it?
No, it's not in the big scheme of things.
Right. So this series is about the big scheme. Very good observation. Ding!
Yay! I got a ding. At least he's not calling me a ding.
No, I won't do the Randy Newman song. Maybe that wasn't Randy Newman. All of you who do not sing must also be playing with your own ding-a-ling. Well, you had that quizzical look on your face. If you had just said,
I thought you said Randy Newman.
yeah, but it wasn't Randy.
No, Randy Newman wouldn't sing that.
He was
No, maybe
somebody
one
from
of
that
his-
era. and
or
I don't
his-
remember who it was.
Scottish bagpipe band. It's like,
Back
what
to-
a Weird Al Yankovic or something.
Maybe, that could have been.
All right.
So if you want to get good at playing a musical instrument, the best way to do that is to hang it on the wall, on a shelf, and look at it and never touch it, right?
No.
No.
Gotta touch it, gotta play with it, and gotta use
You
it.
got to practice it. Once a year should do it, right?
No.
How often should you practice your
Often.
music?
My housemate does it every night.
I don't. And that's why I'm not up at Carnegie Hall, because I don't practice either my keyboards or my bagpipes, and with this hand right now I can't do either.
I wanna hear you on your
That's
back.
why I'm singing tonight, is I haven't been able to practice.
Give on the bagpipes quick.
I can't do it. This is a key finger. Anyway, you practice, right? You want to get good at golf, you practice. Tennis,
Practice.
practice. If you want to be a good artist,
Practice.
you buy a set of paints, you put them in a drawer, and don't touch them for 10 years. And then you sell your blank art book for 50 cents at a yard sale, right? The one that's full of blank pages you never drew on or painted on.
Right.
You do 15 1-minute thumbnail sketches every day.
15?
What's a thumbnail sketch? Oh, got it.
You go. It's quick, right? You just dot. Mine look real. thumbnail sketches for me are like a kindergartner drawing.
We should
For
do
me to
that.
get something that looks better than that, it takes me longer than like 15 minutes.
I should do that for the Popol Vuh, a thumbnail.
Yeah, of all the characters.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a list of characters yet?
I need to do
No,
that.
we need to meet and we need to talk and I can find you that. So.
Well, okay, then it won't happen this week.
And I met somebody that's an expert on the Popol Vuh. She's a Mayan shaman priestess
Wow.
Really? Where did you meet this individual?
at Sacred Well in Dunsmuir.
Okay. Any skill, math, science, music, art, dance, drama, writing, you practice. Right? I wrote all these great notes and I can't make any sense of them.
You must be in the wrong plane.
Oh, yeah. So you're here on Earth in a human biological machine. You're an avatar right now. This is the avatar. These are our avatars. We are this essence, the player of the game. And the link is tenuous. So if you want to get good at this game of humanity on Earth, we got to come up with a name for this game. The rules of the game of humanity on Earth. That's what I wrote down. You have to practice this game. You have to treat this a little bit the way it was a game, right? And then what's the first thing you got to know in any game? You got to know the rules and you got to know the objective. Right? So
That's why that's there.
So what is the objective of chess?
To win.
Okay.
To
Define
take
winning.
the queen.
What's that?
To take the queen.
No. To take which piece?
The king?
The king. The goal is to capture the king, but you're not allowed to trick somebody who doesn't see the moon coming. Every time you go to move a piece that could attack the king, you are required to warn them, and you say,
Check.
check.
Checkmate.
No. Check. It's only checkmate if the game's over.
Oh, if you got the king.
So if you put the king in check, the opponent has a choice of responses. They can move the king. They could capture the attacking piece, or they can interpose one of their pieces to block the check. The game ends when you force the king into a position where they can't capture your checking piece, the king can't move without putting himself into check, and they can't block the checking piece. When those criteria are satisfied, it's checkmate. Game over. That's the objective of chess. What's the objective of football?
To score a touchdown.
Well, it's to score points any way you
point.
can.
Or a field goal.
How
or
many
just
points is a
safety.
touchdown worth?
6.
Hey, good. Most people would have jumped to 7, and that's not true. It's 6.
The extra point is the.
Hey, she's got it down, right? So you can get 6 points with a touchdown, 2 field goals, or 3 safeties.
Mhm.
Okay? 6 points is 6 points. You play for a finite period of time, and whoever has the most points in the finite period of time wins. Right?
Right.
Unlike baseball.
Baseball. The concept is very similar. It's just you're not limited by time, you're limited by failures. Right? An inning is defined as 3 failures. Or outs.
I never thought of it as 3 failures.
Oh, well, now you have.
3 outs. I mean that
You-
could,
You get to score as many runs as you can until you accumulate 3 failures. And then it's the other team's turn, and you alternate a chance to score runs versus failures 9 times. And if you're the Houston Astros, who just lost the World Series,
No, no.
because they came home leading 3-2 in a best-of-7 series, and they choked twice at home.
Wow.
It's the first time in history, I believe, where the visiting team won every game in the World Series. There's been several times where the home team won every game, although even that's rare, only about 4 times out of 100 and however many, 30 years of World Series-ing, 120 years, something like that. First time, the visiting team won them all. And so the Astros choked. They had the home field advantage and they choked. But anyway, it's, yeah, how many runs do you score before you accumulate 3 failures? And you do all that 9 times. Soccer, time, score goals. Hockey, time, score goals, etc. Right? There's a defined objective. What's my next question?
Basketball.
No,
Art.
no. We're talking about the objective of the game of humanity on Earth.
Oh, to upgrade.
What is our objective?
To do our destiny's path,
Why?
our true will.
Why?
To change humanity.
Why?
To upgrade humanity overall.
Why?
Because
Seeing how much you remember. You're on a roll, keep going.
we're not doing such a good job. We have,
No. You were on a roll. Back up where you
Okay.
were 40 seconds ago.
okay, upgrade.
You're going to upgrade humanity. Why?
To upgrade consciousness.
Of?
Humanity. Of
Why? You know it. I see it. You're remembering it, and you rejected the answer.
it's to save humans.
No, you're missing. What is it?
I don't know where you're going.
I've talked about this in the past many times. We're trying to activate
As we
the
keep-
creation.
Oh,
yeah, that nebulous blob.
it's the alchemy that we need to do to finish what the gods
The finished
did.
creation. It's not what the God started, it's what we started. We are extensions of God. And we need extensions of ourselves down here in the physical realm to accomplish things that we couldn't from the higher planes. And what we're attempting to do is activate the creation. So everything you said, up until the point where you forgot this one, was true. Ding. We're trying to upgrade the consciousness of humanity so collectively we can assist with the upgrade of, the awakening of finish the creation and awaken it. And so part of that involves all these other steps. We have to upgrade our individual consciousness, the collective consciousness of humanity. We are trying to become gods incarnate. And this is a process to involve many generations. So, that's the objective of the game of humanity on Earth. Anybody ever get told that in a public high school?
Hell no.
Anybody ever hear that in a college class on philosophy?
No.
None that I ever took. Of course, I only took 2. I passed, but I left thinking that these philosophy people are nuts. Absolute nuts. So, with that as our objective,
I have a question.
Did you hear that?
I get.
Oh.
I'm contemplating. What is your question?
Okay, so we're here to help finish creation or help start it or, alchemate it. So how can we do that?
I think that's what this series is about, yeah. Good question.
But I mean,
What's the answer?
most people, if you tell them that, they're gonna say, how can I possibly do any creation work to help the earth or the universe?
Most of the people alive on Earth today will not achieve a state of being a God incarnate.
Ever or
Not in
the
this
next
lifetime.
couple- yeah.
Not in this incarnation.
So we have to, oh, sorry,
So, does that mean they're screwed forever?
no,
What happens?
they reincarnate.
They
again.
reincarnate, and if they do it right, which you learned a lot about last weekend,
Yeah, then they
how
can-
to do it right, you pick up where you left off, create incarnation after incarnation. Right? There's a reason, which I'll talk about later if somebody writes a note to remind me, about why we want finite lifetimes in one biological machine. But the key point is, no matter where you are, what age you're at, you can in fact be of service to this great work. What can you do? You can be of service to the work. You can do your utmost to find and fulfill your true will. If you're 85 and starting this work right now, may very well be you don't get very far before you have to reincarnate. But every little bit of service you do to the work counts. It counts on the higher planes. It counts on preparing you for a better opportunity next incarnation. So many people, when they're young, they miss an opportunity. There's a window of opportunity at different points in time of age where if you miss it and you allow society to dictate your path based on the mundane objectives of smart mud, then you might miss the whole incarnation. And an incarnation is a terrible thing to waste. So, what do we do? Okay, you want to upgrade the collective consciousness of the humanity. That means we have to be able to communicate with the collective consciousness of humanity. The best way to do that is we get a group of higher performing beings working together. How do you create a group of higher performing beings? Each one of them in turn has to undertake a course of study to develop skills, to train their nervous systems, to train their consciousness to be able to function. Anybody new online?
We have been joined by Dennis
Hi, Dennis.
and George,
Hi, George.
and Serenity says hi.
Hi, Serenity.
Hi, Serenity.
Hi, Serenity. I spelled. I said hi, Dennis, at the wrong time. And I wiggled.
Uh-oh. It's wiggly.
Okay. So, some of that starts to sound familiar. You've heard me talk about this process of individual upgrading of consciousness, starting to work together, this ABD work that Aurea here teaches, and is very good at.
Yeah.
I've seen her in action. Is really crucial for how to connect with another essence. In the ABD work, you're usually targeting one specific essence. Later on in the collective group work, it's a group mind that we create. We sometimes call it a school, the higher school. But that ABD work is important for a lot of other reasons, as you've heard us talk about, is it prepares you for that curious state between incarnations. This is when the actor gets to take their final bows, they go off stage, they've got another performance in a day or two. Maybe it's the same theater, maybe it's a theater down the street, they got to change out of this costume, get in the new costume, learn their script, learn their lines, because as soon as they step out on stage, they got no more access to the script. Right? So, boom, off they go. New play the next day, another theater. Some of the actors are going to be the same that were in this show. Now they're in this show, but they're playing different roles, right? One day I'm playing Othello. I don't have James Earl Jones's voice. I could never do Othello. I mean, that was like the definition, right? James Earl Jones.
Oh, he has a great voice.
Oh, yeah. And so let's say I was Hamlet. I could do Hamlet. And then next time around, I could never do Romeo. You know, whiny little wimp. I could never do that. I don't know. King Arthur. I could do King Arthur. Yeah. So that's the plan, right? You want the human biological machine to last as long as it can, because an incarnation is a terrible thing to waste. So part of the rules of the game of humanity on Earth are take care of your machine, because it's the only one you get, and there's a waiting line to get back here. Right. You have to be looking for your true purpose. You have to develop the skills to access those higher planes of consciousness to find your true purpose and to connect and do all that. But what's missing from most spiritual paths, most traditions, is an accurate depiction of the eternal perspective. They have this heaven or hell or purgatory or paradise kind of a thing. But they don't talk about the really big picture. So as a reminder, these biological machines are designed to support a process of two-way evolution. On the one hand, you've got your biological machine that we are evolving in physical and energetic complexity to create better connections with our essence. And we are evolving our essence to create specific energetic connections to interface better with the biological machines.
Can you say that a different way? like for us right-brained people.
Mm-hmm.
Your biological machine is a PC. Your essence is a Mac. So without turning the machines off on either side, we have to write and install new software so the two machines can talk to each other.
Okay.
Thank you.
I tried to think of a theatrical or a sewing analogy and I couldn't. Not my area of expertise.
I can do computers.
So they don't teach that most places either. That the target of our evolution, the target of our efforts really aren't even to evolve just this. We're trying to evolve that essence. And to evolve the essence, you need something down here in the physical world, in the Malkuth, to create that voltage difference so that you have a current that drives that evolution. So the instrument in this incarnation is this biological machine, its nervous system, and all the programs we install, all the knowledge we learn and gain, all the skills we acquire. And what's important is we have to use it. If we sit here and never move, our muscles will fade away. Right? So, we work. Martial arts, sword, chopping wood is a good one. However much any of you are paying for your gym membership, I'll only charge half. I'll give you a total body workout. Just come on over. I've got a little bit of wood you can chop.
A little bit. Have you seen that pile out there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want my family to freeze this winter, so I have some wood.
He's making up for last winter.
No, I had wood last winter too.
I know, but you couldn't get to it.
No,
Oh,
that was
that
years
was years
ago.
ago.
That was like 7 years ago,
It's the first year we were here.
8 years ago, something. Yeah. So you have to use it, which means you need to develop your program. I chop wood. I do martial arts. I'm always pushing the envelope. You need to do something right-brained and creative. You need left-brained and logical. And you need activities to link the two. How many people remember me talking about this in the past, and what is, in terms of this game of humanity on Earth, as part of this humanity experience, what is probably the best, single most important and effective method of learning to link the two hemispheres of your brain?
Chess.
No? Which part of the brain does chess work? Mostly.
Left.
Yeah. It's a pillar of strength activity. Mental activity, male pillar. That logic. Emotion has very little role in chess. So what's the left brain, right brain linking activity?
Oh, learning to play music.
Ding, ding, ding.
Good
3 dings.
girl.
No, Mohadib also said music.
Oh, great. Muad'Dib. Ding, ding, ding. Music. How many of you are playing music, even if it's like once a month? Do you have an instrument that you could go home today, pick up, or if you're at home watching, pick up and play it?
Yes,
No.
I could do more.
Yeah, I could do more also.
I do. I have handheld.
So, if you're learning tennis, one of the things your tennis coach will have you do is practice what are called baselines. You know, you can run all over the court, but 70% of your game is baseline strokes. You're sitting at the baseline, hitting back and forth, forehand, backhand, backhand, baseline. You're going to practice a lot of baselines. Right? If you're a baseball player, I suspect the Houston Astros are going to be doing a little bit this year in the offseason, because they're going to be spending some time practicing their batting. And if they're smart, they'll go into what's called a batting cage. The balls don't go everywhere. It's just you and a pitching machine that throws baseballs at you. They're going to crank up the speed, and they're going to have it set to go throw random pitches, because the pitching machines have gotten really sophisticated. You can program it to throw curves, fastballs, sliders, change the location. You know, they're pretty sophisticated. And so you go in there and you practice. Swing, and when your arms feel like they're ready to fall off, the coach says, "Great, you're warmed up. Now start working." You know, that's what you do. So you need to practice your music. If you don't have an instrument, choose one. Choose one. You know, it could be the drum, it could be a flute, it could be a guitar, it could be a bass, it could be a violin, a keyboard instrument. Really good keyboard instrument that most people don't think of is the accordion. It's been a long time since there's been a top 40 hit where somebody played the accordion.
So we're back to Weird Al again.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic or Stan Borison. Remember Stan Borison? Only those of us who grew up middle of last century know who Stan Borison is. So practice it. Pick one. That's a homework assignment. And I'm serious. So there's been a couple movies about this. Remember the game they used to play at parties last century called the Scavenger Hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You were given a list, and were divided into several teams usually, either pairs of people or a group of 4, and you had a list of like 10 or 20 objects that you had to obtain somewhere. And you were given like a time limit, usually 2 hours, 3 hours. Go out in the community, and one of the rules, okay, maybe you had to walk. You couldn't drive over the mall and just buy this stuff, right? You had to get it by explaining to everybody, I'm doing this for a scavenger hunt and I can't buy it. You have to be willing to give it to me and not get it back, right? Or make arrangements to bring it back. You know, it'd be weird things like a banjo or an accordion or who knows what, right? And so you're off out there looking for these things. That's a lot like trying to find your true will. You're looking for something. I know I've got one here somewhere, but where the heck is it and how do I find it? So you need to develop those skills. So these are some of the rules that should have been in that handbook we talked about last week, right? Instead of the handbook for the newly deceased, it should be the handbook for the newly incarnated.
That needs to be the title of your book.
Handbook for the newly incarnated?
Yeah.
Oh, write that down for me. It's not bad. Handbook for the newly incarnated. Ooh, I like that. That might end up being the subtitle of the next book in my shamanic series. Because I already have the main title. But I like that. That's good.
It could be a chapter in the first one.
No? No? No. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good idea.
Maria has a question.
Okay.
She says, do we have to learn how to read music, or is it better to do it by ear? And then she says, I can play the piano with both hands, but can't read a note of music.
Has she had her eyes checked and maybe she needs new glasses if she can't read the music?
Did you hear that, Maria? Well, like I play percussion, so it's not like I'm using music, and I found with my dyslexia I have a hard time reading music also.
There's no one right answer, and there's probably, if you talk to a dozen professional musicians about how they learn to play and their answer to that, you're going to get at least 24 answers back. The music is there for a reason, which enables you to play the same notes over and over and over again. So the song always sounds the same. So when we sing I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, it always sounds like I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. When we Bing Crosby, a little better voice than that. Just a little. So there's, when I've been going through some of my, in this last year, my bagpipe music books, they're trying to teach you, okay, there's like basics of music. Like, here's the note A, and then they show you the note A on the bars, and then they show your finger position for note A, and then you play it, right? And it's like, for me, there's too many steps in there. And too many Fourier transforms I have to do in my head to get from the picture of the note on the bars to the sound coming out the bagpipe. The goal is to be able to play music. There's power in learning to read music, and there's power in understanding the musical theory, although that can get really complicated, so don't go too far down that road unless you're a frequency geek like me. And I probably go too far down that road trying to understand, and I should just practice my scales. So it's helpful. I mean, yeah, you can play the piano with both hands, but how? I guess my question would be, how do you know what notes you're playing? Is it all by ear? And you know, then you have to play the tape you're trying to copy. You know, like I want to play White Christmas, so you dun, 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 dun. Oh, that sounded right. Okay, second note, right, and so on. So if you enforce the discipline on yourself to learn to read music and then play it, you're going to slow down your progress up front. You could sound out a song and be playing it in a day. But if you go through that discipline, and it's like a new language, right? That's exactly what learning to read music is. It's a new language. you're going to be creating neural pathways in your brain that will make it far easier later on. So that a year from now, somebody can walk in and say, here's 20 new songs, learn them by Friday. And all you've got is the notes, you've never heard anybody play these songs. And you've got 5 days, so that's you'll learn 4 songs a day in 5 days, for 5 days. 20 songs by Friday. If you can't read music, you're probably not going to be able to do that. But don't sell yourself short. It's that effort to do that. That's exactly what we mean by putting ourselves in the refiner's fire. That's deliberately turning up the heat on yourself, and that's part of the transformation we're trying to create. It's the process we care about more than the end result. I pretty much guarantee you I will never be playing bagpipes at Carnegie Hall. I'll bet there have been people play the bagpipes at Carnegie Hall. There's some really darn good bagpipers out there. I've listened to some of the competition stuff from Scotland. Wow. That like blows me away. Wow. But I'm doing that, right? Music has slowed down this year because I've added 2 or 3 other things back in. Number 1, I've really increased my martial arts. So I'm not asking any of you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. You need something physical. If you don't know what physical exercise to do, come chop wood. And it is very meditative. There's an art to it. There's a physical activity to it. It gets you in shape. It creates connections in the brain. It develops your cardiovascular strength and stamina. Right? It's a perfectly legitimate activity. So that, martial arts, other, chasing dogs or alpacas a mile down the road because they got out the open gate. That happened last month with Kamita. Oh, went down over hill, over dale. Yeah. She thought that was great fun. She was just playing.
She went on a walkabout.
Yeah. She's faster than me in a sprint, but I ran her down. She got tired of I caught her up and on we came. So, artwork. How many people are doing artwork? I know you are. Amazing artwork.
Thank you.
I know you are. I see your artwork.
That's artwork.
Well, in a way. Let me tell you about this. Oh, go back over to this camera, since I'm going to be doing some other things over here. So this is all compiled and edited by me. It's a NASA public domain picture of a galaxy. And it's 2 human silhouettes that came off a free website. So it's free, royalty-free images. And then I did the typing.
I like it.
Okay? So yeah, that you could call artwork if you're creative. That you could call artwork.
I like it.
That's a thumbnail.
Well, I'd call it more than a thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a 2-day thing.
That's you.
Yeah, and so it's not perfect, right? If I did 5 of these and kept only 1, this would probably not be the one that I keep. You seldom keep the first one, right? Because you realize, proportionally the arms and the legs aren't right, and there's a perspective off on the drum, and, but overall, you say, this is a shaman wearing antlers, playing a drum in a clearing near a forest by a hut. Okay? So, and the coloring and the tones were specifically chosen.
Nice rack.
Yeah. I'm supposed to say that to women.
I was thinking you could wear your dad's antler rack.
That's way too big. So that's art.
It's nice. Good
I
job.
like the hummingbird.
Oh, you can tell it's a hummingbird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, score!
Ooh,
That's cool.
That
I
one-
really like that one a lot.
You know, these are all things that were inspired by other images I found, but I didn't just copy them verbatim, right? I put my own twist on them. So this is based on some Mesoamerican artwork. The hummingbird is based on a hummingbird photograph, and the other one is based on something I had done a search on for, I don't know what I searched on, just shamanic art or something like that. And I found that, and so there you go. So you can come back over here. That's all the art I have to show. And I brought those down, not because it's like, ooh, look at me, this is the art that's going into the, what's that famous, the Guggenheim. This isn't going on display in the Guggenheim anytime soon. But I'm pushing my own limits. So when I'm asking you to push your limits physically or creatively or musically or chess-wise, because there's more than a few of you who need to be working on your left brain, mental hode sphere stuff, descending pillar of strength stuff, chess would be really good. So I'm not asking anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. If I can do art, you can do chess. If I can chop wood, you can chop wood. It's part of training your machine to be more effective at the game of humanity on Earth. How many hours a week do you watch television? I know your answer.
0.
Well, you could substitute Facebook.
Right. So, and one of the things I've done in the last couple months is I've reduced my internet surfing time, be it Facebook or anything else, by 75% reduction in time wasted on the computer. You know, when we haven't had television in 12 years, that's not an issue for us. But I'm sure there's a lot of time, think about time wasted. If you're going to rest, then deliberately go rest. And then, when you're refreshed, get up and be productive. Do something important. Do something that trains your machine, or downloads new software into your machine, or gives you new skills to do your will. And learning chess is good. Did I mention that learning chess is good?
Somebody throws something at him.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Um,
I've got a whole batch of metal chess pieces here I can throw back, so be careful when you start.
Mohadib says she's doing artwork.
Good for you, Muad'Dib.
Yay, Muad'Dib.
Oh, I wanted to mention one thing that might help somebody is that scavenger hunt thing. Remember the scavenger hunt game I talked about a minute ago? That resonates with a lot of people because it's like our search for our true will. It's the same reason all the mythologies about a quest for something resonate. It's all the hero's journey. It's Bilbo going into the cave to fight the dragon with the hoard of gold, which is the same as Beowulf going into the cave to fight the dragon with the hoard of gold. Gee, I wonder where Tolkien got that idea. The best translation of Beowulf I've ever read was Tolkien's. I've read 3 or 4 of them. His is the best. Fast forward, and Frodo is another quest story. Rather than a quest to get something, it's a quest to destroy something. Aragorn, the quest to regain his kingdom and his crown. The old TV cartoon show Johnny Quest. Right? King Arthur and the search for the Holy Grail. They all resonate for that reason. So however you stimulate your psyche to get off your keister and do your quest is fair game. As long as you don't interfere with the will of someone else. What I've been trying to do is walk you through a lot of the different steps and skills that will give you the best chance to win. Right? No offense, but to Houston, I was just kind of pulling their chain because they did kind of choke a little bit in the World Series. But don't forget one important fact about that, which is
They lost on their own turf.
no. They were in the World Series.
Ah, wait, okay. That's true.
30 other teams were not. I think it's about 32 teams in professional baseball. They came in second. That's better than the other 30. So they were in the World Series. I'll never play in a World Series.
Sean sang at a Astros game once.
That's right.
Junior high choir.
Star Spangled Banner?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. It's the only
Oh, I
reason was
forgot.
there.
Yeah, I remember you told me that story. Yeah. So, they didn't get there by accident. It wasn't flip of the coin. Right? They got there because they did spend a lot of time in batting cages. Maybe not quite enough to win it this year. They won it, what, 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. But they had to practice the fundamentals over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then some more. Right? So that's what I'm telling you to do. You need to be creative, you need to be physical, you need left brain and right brain stuff, and you need to be creating as many neural pathways as you can to create as many connections with your higher bodies, because it's not just enough to move this and use this body. You've got to move and use your higher bodies. You've got to develop all those dreaming bodies, and it's not just for the sake of developing a dreaming body. So if people don't get it all done in this incarnation, there will be triggers. And you can learn to plant those triggers now. Like, okay, if I have to come back, and let's say you're going to relive this same exact lifetime. We're groundhogging it, right? Until we get it right. How would you leave yourself a trigger?
A journal note.
That's one way.
By refusing to do something and you come up against it again.
Well, that's your block, right? That you're talking about. You're blocked here. You don't. I don't think that's answering the question I'm asking. What I'm asking is, okay, if I'm gonna come back and do this lifetime again, how do I create what we're looking for is a resonance, the recognition, right? I've heard that voice before, right? You need repetitions to create that resonance. If you take a piece of iron and you rub it one time on a magnet, the iron is not magnetized. You've got to rub it and rub it and rub it and rub it. If you're going to polish a piece of metal so smooth that it's a mirror, you don't do it with just a couple of strokes. You've got to put a lot
Oh, so
of
it's
effort.
like how they make the metal bows in the Himalaya. One family, there's 3 brothers, and every strike of the hammer's the mantra. So they do that for 3 days, all through the day. So one bang, the mantra. Another brother hits it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, and that creates the tone that you hear when you go around the bowl.
Okay. So you're trying to put clues into your eternal essence, because it's our knowledge is the only thing we take with us. So read voraciously. Watch useful documentaries and movies. Play music. Do art.
Go to lectures.
Go to lectures. And frequently, I'm not going to tell you at what frequency, but on a regular basis, do something you've never done before. If you don't try it, you might be missing something good. Go to a new restaurant with a new cuisine that you've never had. Learn something new regularly. Language. We haven't talked about languages other than music being one.
And dancing's supposed to be another one.
Yeah. I think Will said he was doing some kind of creative dance course right now. It's X number of weeks long. So, that's very good. It'll integrate music and the hemispheres and the movement. And you could play chess. You could play chess. One of the things I'm going to challenge you to do, one was music, right? You're all going to increase your efforts at music. I want you all to read and become very familiar with a set of mythology. So many of us are reading the Popol Vuh. That counts. But in addition to that, do one more. I'm doing the Norse because I made a commitment back during the In Quest of Self series where we looked at the Tree of Life, when I realized that Crowley's work didn't have the Norse pantheon. I committed, I said I would do that. I've read a lot about the Norse pantheon and their mythological stories, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go down the 32 things, and I'm going to take a crack at filling that out.
A lot of the pantheons only have the 10 Sephiroth. And
Yeah.
I mean, so in other words, like the Greek one and stuff doesn't have all 32.
I'll bet they're there. I don't know that Crowley filled them out, but I'll bet you could find them in some of their stories.
Well, in the Greek, yeah. Some of the other ones, though.
Yeah. So, like the story of Odysseus, right? You could get most of the 22 paths out of that, from what I remember. It has been years. It was in college that I read the Iliad and the Odyssey.
I did a wall mural of it once.
Oh, wow. That would have been good.
Kind of like a map showing all of the encounters.
The Sirens.
I like to see that.
Somewhere I have a picture of it.
I hope you find it.
And
So the reason I want you to do a new set of mythology is
learn something new.
learn something new that will resonate with the tree of life, that will get you questing in search of yourself. You thought you were done with that series, didn't you?
Mhm.
Quest of self. Humanity is at a major crossroads. And time is of the essence for everything we do. I'm asking you all to push yourselves for that reason. I don't have the answer for how much time until a lot of this world of illusion comes crashing down. But I can tell you that if we want to upgrade it, we have no time to waste.
EJ says at the most 10 years.
That's about the number I'm sensing.
That was a year ago.
Yeah, so now we're 9 years.
9 years. So, what time is it? Shoot, you guys better go get busy. You gotta go home, you gotta practice your music, you gotta research mythology.
Make it relevant.
Any questions online? Any comments?
We have a visitor named Bond Voyager.
Bond Voyager. Hi, Bond Voyager.
And Maria said something about the Iliad and the Odyssey were star stories. There's several books about it.
Star stories.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, Maria. I know that the Iliad, which is the story of the Trojan War.
Jayish.
Say again?
Jayish. I think he's a Facebook friend from
Oh!
EJ's group.
Yeah,
Right?
hey! Glad to see you. The Iliad, of course, is the story of the Trojan War. Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. The Greek army went over there, tricked the Trojans into bringing their horse in the gate. Long story short, they sacked and destroyed Troy, except for the ones who escaped. Some of the Trojans got out the back gate and escaped. Everybody thought that was purely mythological until Frank Calvert and Heinrich Schliemann went over there and followed the directions in Homer's story and dug up Troy. Right where Homer said it was. So the Odyssey is much more archetypal, very clearly, which actually delayed us finding and acknowledging Troy, because everybody figured, well, the Iliad's got to be archetypal as well. But I remember when I read these last century that I couldn't have put it into words then the way I would now. I could sense somehow that the Iliad was true and the Odyssey was archetypal. I sensed a difference that I couldn't have described. I don't know, maybe that's part of my genetic memory. I am descended from some of the survivors of Troy. So I don't know, maybe that's why.
Maria says it's constellation movement personified. So she had read a
Oh.
book about it. There's several books on that, and that could fall into the symbolism that you're talking about.
Yeah, no, in my copious amounts of spare time, I wouldn't mind reading about that.
Right. Well, let's see. There's a mythology you don't know, right?
Well, I actually know a fair. I don't know that the Trojan. But I've already given myself a task of the Norse pantheon, relating it to the Tree of Life. So that's my homework, which I voluntarily took upon myself. Again, setting examples for the rest of you. Oh, and you also need to go home tonight and practice chess. Chessboard set up here. After we're done, you two can play.
Yeah. And right.
Take a little trebuchet to his little chess pieces.
That's
You know, when I turn people into a newt,
Oh,
it's like a
you
catapult.
would never turn your beloved into a newt, so get over it.
I wasn't talking about her. I'm talking about you.
Yeah. Oh.
No, but if I did turn her into a newt, I'd let her get better.
Right.
Generally speaking, I don't. When I turn into
into a newt.
a newt,
What is a newt?
it's like a salamander,
Oh,
similar.
I'm gonna get you one.
I don't think they're native to this area. They're more aquatic.
We'll get you an aquarium and a newt.
So Maria has a question,
Yes, Maria.
and since I thought most of your peeps are online, we should talk about maybe your plans for winter solstice.
Okay, what's your question?
She hasn't asked it.
Okay. Winter solstice. I don't remember what day of the week that is. I'm sure somebody who's sitting at a computer in the room will tell us. I think it's like a Sunday.
Well, we usually meet on a Saturday.
No, but I want to know when the solstice is.
Okay, well, hang on a minute, right? Oh, how to navigate your computer. So I guess you just
Okay.
yeah, just
The Saturday closest to the solstice, without hopefully going too far past it, is what we're going to do. We have a shamanic weekend Well, not necessarily the whole weekend, it'll be a day. And there will be some sort of workshop. And the details are coalescing in my mind.
Okay, I'm not showing the exact date of solstice. We had marked it off on the calendar for the 20th is the Friday before, and the 21st is Saturday.
Okay. We may actually get lucky, and it may actually be on the 21st.
It usually is, isn't
Well,
it?
it's anywhere from the
No.
20th to the 22nd,
Let me see.
because we have an elliptical orbit,
Oh,
and we have a calendar that isn't uniformly decided where one year exactly matches one circuit around the sun.
And then you gotta figure in the time changes and all of that.
Right. So,
Okay, according to my Google search, the winter solstice 2019 in the northern hemisphere will be at 8:19 p.m. on Saturday the 21st. All times are in Pacific time.
oh, we scored.
uh-oh.
Saturday night.
We actually get a shamanic solstice day on the solstice. So that's the day. Mark it on your calendar. We'll be doing something.
I have a conflict because I'm gonna be caregiving from the
Well,
20th
you can
to
talk about
22nd.
personal things later.
Okay,
Just, yeah.
all right.
That's the day of solstice. It's been on the calendar for a year, and you guys all need to check the calendar for its events. And we do one on the Saturday closest to the equinoxes and the solstices every quarter.
Yep.
So Maria has her question when you're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
I was watching a documentary on the Olmec yesterday
Oh,
on
okay.
YouTube, and some of the shamans wore headdresses or is that magnetite beads?
I've
Would
heard
that-
this,
Would
yes.
what would that do to the brain?
I don't know, but I can tell you that, as I'll talk more about the Olmecs in a moment, but I can tell you that when I've worn magnets on my body doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Now, magnetite isn't necessarily a strong magnet. It's a type of iron ore. There's the tiny pockets of magnets in it, if I remember right, but it's not like magnesium rock. Everybody knows what magnesium rock is, right?
Magnesium?
Magnesian rock. No, it's not
No.
the element magnesium. Okay, the word magnet in the English language comes from magnesian rock. Magnesian rock is a type of naturally occurring magnet, a type of iron ore that's magnetized when it forms, that used to be called lodestones. And they were rare, they were hard to find. So when you found one, you tied it on a string and it would always point north. That was cool, right? The strongest ones known in the old world came from a place in what's now Turkey, near a town called Magnesia. And hence the magnesian rocks were the best primo lodestones. So microscopically, iron ore gets divided into little regions called domains, where all the polar aspects of the iron molecules are aligned in the same direction. So it has to cool at a slow enough rate that these molecules have time to slowly shift in a highly viscous magma to align with the Earth's magnetic field. And then they solidify and they're pointing this certain direction. This is how they know that the Earth's magnetic field has changed, right? Because then here's a piece of rock magnetized this way, and then the magnetic field flips, and now the south pole is north and the north pole is south, and then another magnetic layer or lava layer comes along and it aligns in the opposite direction. And the two layers are then solidified into one rock. So that's some of the things that geologists do, is they figure this stuff out. So magnetite is a type of iron ore that I believe has small regions, kind of like that. Sometimes these ancient cultures recognized the power. Maybe they could feel the energy there, and they wore it as a power piece. Maybe if they did some experimentation and they learned to align the magnets a certain way, that it could amplify some of their natural energetic skills. When I was back in the day looking at some of the health magnets, wear this on your body this way, here, I would start a conversation with the representatives of these various magnet manufacturing companies, and I'd say, okay, well, we don't know the answer to your question. I had simple questions like, what field strength, how strong a magnet do you use on different body parts for different things? Why do you pick a certain strength? Never got an answer. How do you decide which way you want to orient the polarity? Is it running along the body, north this way? Is it going into the body, north going in, north coming out? Why? Never once on these magnetic companies did I ever get an answer. I didn't even get the obvious answer, which was, well, yeah, we have a way we do that, but it's proprietary, so we won't tell you. So you can't go rip off our ideas. They never even said that, right? They just said, oh, we'll get our chief engineer to talk. You talk to the chief engineer. Say, oh, okay, we've got a lot of research on that. We'll send it to you. All I get in the mail is a bunch of sales literature. No answers. So, what did the Olmecs know when they do that? I don't know what the Olmecs knew when they did that. But I'm guessing they either simply recognized it as a power piece, or they found a way to turn it in a way that it amplified their natural energy. Like we do that, some of that with crystals. And you can combine crystals with polar metals like iron. You get some curious effects, I'm sure.
I think her question was what that would do to the brain to have all that near your head, to have all those magnets, but I think you basically...
I've kind of talked about that. I don't have the definitive answers, and I don't know that there's anybody who does, based on my experience of working with magnet companies. I know there's been a lot of work that's been done to map the magnetic fields of the organs. The heart and the brain have the strongest ones. So it's going to do something. In the Toltec lineage, we built a little chamber at the top of the pyramids to take advantage of the energy that the pyramids generated, and we built the chamber out of mica, which is going to concentrate and amplify that natural energy to assist with transforming. So the Olmecs are a curious culture. The physical appearance of the Olmec heads, the famous big heads, it's very obviously African. The facial features are very obviously African. It very clearly points to the fact that there was an African influence here in early North America, Central America. We have evidence that shows there was Indian from India influence here, that there was Chinese influence here, and Japanese, and Middle Eastern, and European. When you've got tribes running around the Amazon that are white-skinned and blonde or red hair, it's like, well, the conventional stories they tell us about the history of humanity are clearly incomplete. We really are one big family. Regardless of our skin color or hair color, we have a lot more in common than we have differences. And we need to stop listening to the propaganda that says otherwise. So, any other questions?
I've asked the question online, and while they're thinking about it, we're going back and forth between questions and calendar stuff. I didn't realize it was so early still. But, Golden Eagle and myself will be at the Healing Arts Day in Chico next Sunday, the 10th. And I believe that same weekend, Mohadib and Little Eagle are going to a animation festival, Comic-Con thing in Reno.
Yep.
And we are going to be, we've canceled our level 2 class here in Mount Shasta on the 16th of November. But Mohadib, that Sarah has a level 2 class in Red Bluff, I believe on the 23rd. So if you have anyone who would like to go on for their level 2, or you would like to retake that information with Sarah, give her a jingle. And then other than that, that's Thanksgiving after that, and then we have the winter solstice thing. We don't know, for those who've asked, what the plans are for EJ's birthday on, I think the 27th of December is a Friday, so they will probably, if he's feeling well and everything's going well, have a celebration on the 28th, and so we will probably go to that, but we'll let you know more when we know more. Other than that, we are tentatively looking at Sunday, the
8th, was it?
I said 8th, yeah, Sunday the 8th, to begin the Labyrinth Readers course, which is a 12-week course, learning how to communicate both with the dead and with anyone. It's really great for learning how to be able to do distance healings and all of those type of things. So that's what's going on the rest of this year. That'll go on the calendar here shortly if it's not already there.
Okay. So, go forth and have a human experience, but never forget that's not who you are. You are an essence, an eternal sacred being, and you're here to learn, and you're here to learn how to do in the physical plane. Your job here in physicality is to learn how to create worlds and universes. So before you get to that step in the learning process, there's a few smaller steps you've got to do first.
Like managing your own universe.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said. So, one of the things that will help you doing that is chopping wood. Call me tomorrow and come over and I'll teach you. Okay? We're done. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Tell all your friends about us. If you don't have any friends, this will be a good reason to go make some, just so you can tell them about us. Thank you.